Okay, this week I wanted to talk a little bit about how to code HTML. We're going to be looking at Dreamweaver and other web design programs soon, but almost all web programs these days are drag and drop, where you move things around, and the even programs like Microsoft Word or text editors these days, you can type something up and save it as a web page, where the program, whatever it is, will insert the HTML coding for you so that it can be viewed as a web page. But it's good to know a little bit about how to do the actual coding, because you will be able to do far more as a web page designer if you understand HTML. So, I wanted to do a brief introduction to HTML. Now, I apologize for those of you who've had experience coding. This will be incredibly basic, and it's probably something you've already known, and known well for years. But there are other people in the class who have never coded before, so bear with us while we take a quick look at the very, very basics of HTML. Now, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the language of it is the coding language of the World Wide Web. And so you can write a web page using any sort of text editor. If you're on a Mac, every Mac comes with TextEdit preloaded onto it. So you can open that up and create a new document. Before you do, you should check your preferences. Now, excuse me if I cough from time to time. I'm sick right now. You want to make sure that it is set to plain text, and then under Open and Save, you want to make sure that it's checked here where it says display HTML files as HTML code instead of formatted text. As I said, TextEdit, like almost all text editors, WordPad or Microsoft Word, any sort of word processing program, they'll add the HTML coding for you. So we want to override that and let us write the code. All right. So now we have our text document, and we can start coding it. The first thing you want to do whenever you have a web page is to write some code that lets web browsers know that it is a web page. So all commands in HTML are enclosed in angle brackets, the left angle bracket and the right angle bracket. That is the signal to a browser that what exists in between those two brackets is the command. So we will type in between these brackets HTML to let the browser know that this is in fact an HTML document. Now, an old coding trick here is to type all in caps. When you use other programs, whether it be Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or an actual web design program like Dreamweaver, or if you're using WordPress or something like that, it will automatically insert the code for you, and often the code will be in lowercase. But people who hand code often code the commands in caps. it doesn't matter. You can do it in caps or lowercase, but the advantage to using caps is that when you're scanning through the code, eyeballing it, looking for something, it's much easier to spot your commands if they're all in caps. It makes them look different from the actual text of the web page. All right, so as I said, we need to type in HTML as a command in between angle brackets to let the browser know that this is in fact an HTML page. Now, every time we do a command in HTML, we need to tell it to stop running the command. So the way you do that is enclosed in angle brackets. You use the slash. That slash indicates that it is the end of the command. In this case, the end of the command HTML. So what we're doing here is saying that this is going to be an HTML document, and then within it, this space is our HTML document, and at the end, we say that's the end of the HTML document. So all web pages are comprised of two major parts, a head and a body. So we create them again with angle brackets. Head, and then since we created a head, we have to tell it where the head ends. And then a body of the document. And then we have to tell it that the body ends. So what we have here is an HTML document that contains a head and a body. All right. So in the head, one of the things that it generally contains is the title of your web page. Now, a lot of times the title won't display at all anywhere. It's just something that can be read by the browser. Sometimes, depending on the browser settings, it might appear at the top here, like where it says Untitled right now. In Chrome or Internet Explorer, Firefox, or Safari. But sometimes it won't show at all. So why bother including a title? The reason to include a title, even if it's not going to display, is that a lot of search engines, particularly Google, use the title to help index your page. So if you want good results in Google, you should definitely have a title. I'm just going to title this. I put in title in between two angle brackets, and since I did that, we need to tell it to end the title. And then in between that, we can give it whatever title we want. I'm going to call it test web page. All right. So now what we've done is we had succeeding commands with head and body. Head started, then ended, and then body started and ended. But now for the first time, we have what's known as nested tags, where head starts, then title starts, then title ends, then head ends. So the entirety of title is nested within head. Excuse me. All right. So now the main text of your web page is going to be in the body section. So here I would just type in whatever I want in my web page to say. Hello, world. This is a sample web page so we can learn a little about HTML. Now, it will not recognize HTML as a command here because it's not enclosed in angle brackets. All right. Now, sometimes you can include multiple things within a tag. So within the body tag, before it ends, we can add something else in those angle brackets. And I'm going to put in the command BGCOLOR. That stands for background color. And then equals. So we're telling it what the background color is supposed to be. BGCOLOR equals. And then we have to tell it within quotes what that is. Since this is all contained within the body tag, we don't need to type someplace else a \BGCOLOR because it's part of the body tag. So when the body tag ends, this ends. Now, in those quotes, we put in the hexadecimal code of our color. If you remember from when we were talking about color, that those are the 6 digits that tell us what color our web page is supposed to be. So if you remember, there was 2 digits here. It was basically 6 digits. And these 2, if you remember, corresponded to red. These 2 corresponded to green, and these 2 corresponded to blue. And they needed to be a number from 0 to FFFFFF, with 0000000 being black and FFFFFF being white. Remember, because it's additive. The more it goes up, the more closer to white it is. So that being said, if I made it FF and then 0000, what color is that going to make our web page? We shall see. All right. Finally, we want to save it. So we'll save this document to our desktop. But we don't want to save it as a text document, remember? We want to save it as an HTML document. And there it is on the desktop. So if we double click on that, we can open that up in Firefox, and it says, "Hello world, this is a sample web page so we can learn a little bit about HTML." And basically that's all I wanted to cover for right now. It's just the very basics of HTML I want you to be familiar with, so that when we get to talking about Dreamweaver and such, you will know a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes with the code. All right, thanks a lot.